E buonasera, dove è finito il gioco? Non lo so. Buonasera a tutti, ben arrivati, cerchiamo di rimetterlo. C'è? Non c'è? C'è? Ora c'è, ok. Il gioco dovrebbe esserci e ci siamo. Scusate il ritardo, mi sono perso perché dovevo staccare a Final Fantasy XIV, ma mi sono ritrovato dentro un concerto ed era difficilissimo staccare, erano veramente veramente bravi. E niente, noi dobbiamo andare avanti e allora l'idea sarebbe non fare tutti i gli achievement perché sono molto strani, ma fare le ultimissime cose di completismo sulle Stanley Parable e poi passare a coso, alle Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition. Quindi sarà un po' problematica perché non ho la più pallida idea di cosa devo fare. Cerchiamo di capire in fretta cosa va fatto. Allora, speedrun, devozione, vai fuori e inottenibile non li possiamo ottenere. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. Non ho la più pallida idea di che cosa bisogna fare in questo trofeo, ma abbiamo in mente una cosa. Allora, purtroppo i nostri salvataggi sono andati bene o male a puttane perché non avevo salvato, era crashato il gioco e quindi addio salvataggi. Mi ha tenuto gli trofei, ma a livello di cose che abbiamo fatto per il gioco non so se le abbiamo fatte. Cioè, in realtà non le abbiamo fatte perché infatti il finale paradiso non ce l'abbiamo. Non è qui, dobbiamo rifarlo dall'inizio schiacciando tutti i pulsanti, ma poco importa. L'unica cosa che dobbiamo fare adesso è cercare quella cavolo di linea gialla, perché è l'unica cosa che mi viene in mente. Buonasera Corigon, ben arrivato. Esatto, 888. Non ho la più pallida idea di cosa bisogna fare se non toccare ogni singolo 8 che vedo in giro. E boh, quello che cercherei di fare al momento è proprio cercare la linea gialla e stop. L'unica cosa è che avendo resettato il salvataggio ho idea che l'unico modo per trovarla sia rifare il finale confusione.
When
Quindi andiamo a
Stanley
fare il
came to a
finale
set of two
confusione.
open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Comunque dopo
Yes, truly
aver
a room
assistito al
worth the while.
concerto
But
su Final
before he could
Fantasy
get back to business,
XIV
Stanley took
mi
the
sono
first open door on
convinto.
his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back
Assolutamente
on
no,
track.
scendiamo di qua. Mi sono convinto e molto molto probabilmente shopperò un po' di emote per ballare, perché sono veramente bellissime.
Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go,
E non solo in realtà,
from
perché
here.
c'è
Left.
c'è l'altra cosa, come si chiama? Le emote che si prendono con le quest, quindi abbiamo trovato finalmente cosa fare al posto della main
Oh,
quest.
no. No, it's to the right. My mistake. No, 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 not the right. Why would I have
Mi era
ever said
mancato
it
il
was to the
narratore di
right?
questo gioco.
What was I thinking? It's clearly. Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Ok. Mi fa un sacco paura sto camioncino. Mi dà davvero l'impressione che mi possa investire da un momento all'altro. Ops,
No, no,
spoiler!
no, 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 no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm?
Hanno
Okay,
licenziato
from the
l'impiegato
top.
432. Ah, eccoci, ripartito.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Tanto se riusciamo a beccare i pulsantini da schiacciare, male non fa.
When Stanley... Wait. What? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Well, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Let's find the story. Oh. Wow. No, non ha senso. Non ha senso la geometria di questi corridoi. Non posso essere qui. Ma no! Ma ero laggiù!
This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Madonna, che confusione sta parte sempre.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Biribi.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything? Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
E invece no.
No,
Oh no.
wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Questo è decisamente uno dei miei ending
Now
preferiti.
well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Oh no. Ah, eccola! La linea! Oddio, perché c'è la barra del dialogo qua?
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
How simple is that?
See? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, Are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Buonasera, tazza. Subcommittee meeting of internal revenue analysis for committees of the Royal Revenue Discussion Club. Cosa? Non curse. Cosa? That all internal revenues be reviewed exclusively by internal members of royally appointed subcommittee. Okay? That human beings, excepting the members of the 5th annual subcommittee meeting of internal revenue analysis for committees of the Royal Revenue Discussion Club, smell. No, ma come? Dude, I am so wasted right now. Ma cosa cazzo ho appena letto? Follia.
Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern, Stanley.
Che non è mai ricomparsa poi.
Very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Non è più ricomparsa che io ricordi. Io tutto bene. Sono andato ancora avanti con Final Fantasy XIV. La storia è esplosa.
No. You do know we're looking for the Stanley parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Tan tan tan.
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Ah, bene. No, ma considera che ho iniziato con mezz'ora di ritardo, perché stavo staccando da Final Fantasy XIV e mi sono ritrovato in mezzo a un concerto. E è stato difficilissimo staccare.
What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Lo so, ma è difficile andarsene. Erano bravissimi a
suonare.
suonare.
Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
The Line TM. Trademark.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Bellissimo che lui dice finalmente la storia è nel nostro controllo, perché abbiamo una scelta.
which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Cioè mi fa morire che dice, eh sì, la storia è tutta nel tuo controllo, ora che possiamo finalmente fare una scelta, e poi tanto. Cioè, in realtà no. Qualsiasi scelta fai sarà sbagliata.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the time return stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do happen to have a...
Madonna, che paura! Che paura!
All of his co-workers were gone.
Ok, mi avete detto che finisce lì il confusion ending, però quello che dice il confusion ending è che il narratore si dimentica dei precedenti restart. Noi proviamo a giocare la storia, ma non ci riusciamo. Oh, look at this. Non ci riusciamo e quindi il gioco restarta da solo. Chissà se riusciamo a fare qualcosa del genere.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Eccola. La linea. La linea è lì. Come la raggiungiamo? Come facciamo a raggiungerla? Va in questa direzione. Noi dietro non possiamo tornare.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Da qui non vedo la linea. Quindi forse dobbiamo tornare qua. Proviamo.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ok, qua non c'è niente.
Yet there was not a single person.
Sicuro Tazza che vuoi fare una roba del genere?
Disbelief. Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Cioè, per carità,
He might find an
se è
answer
ciò che vuoi
there.
fare, no problema, però...
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was
Ci
nothing
sono
here,
così
so
tante
he
cose
turned
che
around
potresti
and got back
fare,
on track.
così tanti giochi. No.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some
Ma
way.
quanto tempo ti
As
ci
it
vuole a
is,
maxare
he's
il
literally just
personaggio?
standing there doing sweet FA.
Doing Sweet FA.
Are you
Ah, ok, se non ti ci vuole
still
molto
there,
allora
Captain?
ci sta.
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Ah, ok,
Maybe to
capisco.
you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That all with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to his broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. In a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway. Ah, second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any work. You too. Unbelievable. At the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can learn the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Non c'era altro dopo, giusto? Ok, no.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No, si è chiusa la porta, non posso tornare indietro. Ma la linea non c'è. Dov'è la linea? Cosa devo fare con quella maledetta linea? È tutto chiuso.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway. Descending deeper into the hole, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Continuo a non vedere la linea gialla.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
E sto cercando la linea gialla, ma non ho la più pallida idea di cosa devo fare. A parte vederla in quella stanza lì dopo il confusion ending, boh, non l'ho più trovata finora.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of
Abbiamo rifatto il finale della Broom Room, Broom Closet.
eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Su Final Fantasy invece come procede? State ancora piangendo tantissimo.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even
Poi posso
possible?
provare a fare la
Had he
speedrun
truly
volendo per il
spent his
trofeo.
entire life utterly blind to the world?
Ah ok, se hai robe da farmi fare, ben volentieri.
The heart of the operation.
Perché io sto andando un po' a intuito, ma non sto trovando niente.
Or sad, or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very
Che bello sto gioco
And as
comunque.
the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Avete finito Heavensward? Az, io l'ho appena iniziato.
He had
Bene.
won. He had defeated
Non vi raggiungerò mai di
unshackled
questo passo.
himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet
Poi vabbè, adesso non ci ho trovato qualcosa di alternativo da fare rispetto alla main quest. Quindi addio main quest.
where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he
Ora c'è la
realized
gigantesca
none of
linea
this
gialla.
mattered to him, for
Invece
it
no.
was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his
Io avevo letto di recente che forse hanno idea di fare una Definitive Edition di Cyberpunk, qualcosa del genere.
exactly the way
Quasi quasi aspetto quel momento per prenderlo.
meant to happen. And Stanley
Stanley was happy. E invece, the end is never the end. Addio Stanley. Ok, quindi se adesso ritorno di là, c'è ancora la linea gialla? Oppure no? Cosa? Come scusa?
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Come ho fatto ad ottenere l'achievement inottenibile? Ma che cazzo? Cos'è appena successo? Sono più confuso del confusion ending. Era questa la porta dove bisognava cercare di aprirla tot volte? O forse era 428? Non ricordo. Vabbè, abbiamo già fatto. Ci interessa poco. Ok, abbiamo appena ottenuto un achievement che era impossibile ottenere. Grazie gioco per confondermi sempre di più. Andiamo avanti col finale paradiso. Vediamo, vediamo. Ci sarà ancora la linea gialla? Comunque sì, sono pronto per le ultime due cose. Quando vuoi dirmi cosa devo fare, volentieri. E per adesso... non c'è più la linea gialla. Che cosa vuol dire? Adesso è da qualche altra parte?
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ah, giusto, me l'aveva detto anche Tazza. E me lo sono ridimenticato di nuovo. Che c'era la stanza del telefono, devo andare lì. E cos'è che avevo già fatto? Devo andare e non rispondere?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Mi sembra ricordare che non devo rispondere perché le altre volte avevo già risposto.
The story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please.
Che figo aver fatto l'escape ending dove ci sono tutte le chicchette del development.
I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley.
Sì, sì, so, cioè è proprio un ragionamento che avevo fatto io.
Your work aside.
Ero andato lì e avevo detto, ok, ho risposto al telefono, ci devo tornare e non devo rispondere e vedere cosa succede. E ogni volta me lo sono dimenticato. Tazza me l'ha ricordato e mi ha detto, guarda, hai detto che dovevi andare a non rispondere e non l'hai fatto. E quindi... E ora tu mi parli del telefono, quindi sì, mi sono ricordato per la terza volta che... Eccoci
You
qua.
need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
La voce del narratore, madonna. Devono averlo ricoperto d'oro sto doppiatore. No, no, la scorsa volta mi avevi ricordato alla fine che... Eri tu o era qualcun altro? Mi sembra fossi tu, però potrei confondermi. Mi ricordavo che mi avessi detto... Non è che puoi staccare la spina? Oddio, sì. Ah. Ma non ho risposto. Narratore. Ah.
Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Posso prenderla di
It wasn't
nuovo?
supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
No, l'abbiamo rotto di nuovo. Confusion Ending parte 2.
Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits.
Non è vero, è una bugia.
Is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see? No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person, but if used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per
Ah,
day.
eccole le 8
Do you make
scelte.
more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
La stanza che si sta deteriorando faceva parte del confusion ending. Perché diceva ti ritrovi nel tuo ufficio ma la stanza si sta deteriorando. Come hai fatto? Non sarebbe dovuta essere una scelta possibile. I do as the other voice in my head commands. You are just one of many voices. Ok. Ok.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Oh no! Ci sta impedendo di fare qualsiasi scelta.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
In effetti sì, andiamo molto bene. Di certo non sono pazzo.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
Boing.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Oddio, cosa sta succedendo qui dentro? Oh, Madonna. E se ci ritorno? Non succede niente, ok. Ho paura. Non so quanto possa essere utile una dichiarazione del genere in tribunale, ma ci proveremo.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why?
No,
For
quanto
what?
incazzato.
What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Aiuto! Fa paura! Quanto horror?
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground.
No.
What? Did you think that would be funny? You just had
Oh,
to see.
scusa!
Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it.
Oh no.
That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Non ce la posso fare, è più forte di me.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
No!
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
Adesso mi ammazza il narratore.
All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
Mi sa che dobbiamo andare per forza a sinistra adesso, però. Provo un'ultima volta per vedere se succede qualcosa.
He entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
No, non ce l'ho fatta in tempo. Ok, andiamo a sinistra.
That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
No! The broom closet non si apre. No!
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Maledetto! No, non c'è più il bagno! Mi ha murato qualsiasi strada! Cos'è successo all'ufficio del capo?
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Night Shark 115?
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Night Shark 115?
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak
Buonanotte,
the code
tazza.
into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Non prende. Night Shark
Fine,
115.
you're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello?
What the fuck?
Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
The end?
The door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything alright? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept what you do.
No! Ma povero narratore!
Choose. Do something.
No! Tristezza!
This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct and is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
E a questo punto mi viene da pensare, proviamo a restare fermi in sta stanza. Ho sentito, Giuto, che anche voi siete arrivati ai titoli di coda di Heavensward,
Stanley knew
maledetti.
the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Ma non è finito. Cioè, il discorso è diverso qui. Maledetti. Nelle prime due stanze. Ok. E esplora risorse, ha deciso. Io devo capire sta cosa perché mi infastidisce parecchio. Ho l'esplora risorse che ogni tanto compare e mi fa uscire dallo schermo intero del gioco. Non capisco perché. C'è un ending che si può fare nelle prime 2 stanze.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
C'è ancora quel foglietto che avevamo visto prima. Ste scatole, boh. Fogli, robe. Una scatola. Be My Valentine. Ma ti riferisci per caso a quello dove bisogna bussare 5 volte su una porta e poi inizia a svarionare? Perché quello l'ho già fatto. Non penso sia un ending, ma più un achievement. Molto fuori dagli schemi, ok. Oh, una pianta. È un po' difficile uscire fuori, considerando che è tutto chiuso. Ma l'achievement inottenibile, com'è che si ottiene? Che non ho capito. Cioè, è completamente random? Devi fare cose che non ho capito di aver fatto?
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Eh no, ok, ma come si triggera la telefonata? Perché non è che parte sempre. Cioè, più che inottenibile è un achievement incomprensibile. Mm. Che non posso prendere oggetti e rompere le finestre. Vero? Ah, paura. E sono molto vicino ad arrendermi. Molto vicino, ma non ancora lì. Cioè che in realtà potrei anche andare avanti 4 ore a provare di tutto, conoscendomi. C'è una scala che mi fa andare sopra, ma non si può entrare. Mm. Mhm. Questa porta non si apre. Ma sì, sono abbastanza senza idee. A questo punto mi arrendo, sì. Per una questione di tempo, banalmente, non ho proprio la più pallida idea di cos'altro provare a fare. Ho provato a toccare qualsiasi cosa, uscire da qualsiasi possibile buco nello spazio-tempo. Boh, ho guardato gli oggetti, ma quadri, non c'è niente che faccia pensare a cosa fare. Oh, di qua si sale? Ah, siamo saliti. Però non c'è niente da tocchicciare. Qualcosa di strano che ho già fatto ma nel posto sbagliato. Ok. Le mie retine. Tutto bianco. Cazzo, le mie retine. Quello di qua. No, questa finestra è troppo piccola. Mhm. Mhm. Posso fotocopiarmi le chiappe? No. Ah, io posso usare anche il tasto sinistro per fare le azioni. Ah, pensa a te. A questo punto sì, perché sono abbastanza confuso. Ci sono tante cose strane da fare in questo posto. Ah, ok. Ma quale delle tante? Ok, non è questa. Qua ci posso salire? No. Qua ci posso salire? Stranamente no. Qua neanche. Qui neanche. Come deve essere una di queste. Era qua che l'ho salito. Più o meno. Ok, sì. Ok. Ah! Ah! Oh no!
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Would it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Quindi devo restartare io e andare a fare l'altra opzione. Oh, come se ci fossero porte qua a fianco. Oh no!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh no! Cosa è
Stanley went around
successo?
touching every little. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Oh no, oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to
Andata male?
I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient.
Tocca restartare
Finish
tutto.
whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
No.
boss's office.
Ah, perché mi è spawnato il randomico ufficio blu. Ah! Quindi devo restartare? No. Restartiamo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Il
Stanley
randomico
decided to
ufficio
go to the
blu.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
E non posso più salire? Oh no! Ah no, ok.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration
Oh,
and
mamma.
realized it was part of the game's
Come
design.
rompermi la testa in pochi
He then
semplici
praised the game for its
passaggi.
insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its
Hmm.
examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Ending del bambino a parte.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable.
Ho un pelucco in
Hence
bocca.
existence quite terrible. And if you are not
Che
strong
fastidio.
and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
Ma che cavolo, dannato pelucco. È davvero lunghissimo rispetto all'altro. Vabbè, ricominciamo. Successo niente.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ok, possiamo salvare e tornare al menu. Ma quindi speedrun immagino sia abbastanza fattibile, semplicemente devi correre e farti tutta il finale canonico. Questo vabbè è un po' complicato. Questo non ho capito, cioè devi partire a mezzanotte e finire a mezzanotte di un martedì, ok. E l'achievement degli 8 che cos'è? Perché dopo la cosa del telefono mi viene da pensare che bisogna fare 8 scelte in una run. Però è abbastanza complicatino. Beh, a questo punto direi che possiamo uscire dal gioco e faccio partire l'altro. Un po' desktop, Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Con i suoi tempi, mica abbiamo fretta. Ok, ecco qui, ora devo solo metterlo in da live. Cattura gioco, Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Ed eccoci qui. English, direi che va bene. Yes. Enter the current... Ok. Sono le 23:31. Ah. Ah no, ok, PM. Quindi 11. E... Facciamo... No, ho sbagliato. Ma allora sei stronzo. Aspettiamo il 32. Lo aspettiamo il 32. Eccolo qua, 32. Confirm. Ok. Però adesso, visto che siamo qua, andiamo qui, cambiamo categoria. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Bene. Fine. Settings, gameplay, field of view, camera sensitivity, invert Y, controller vibration, manual controller. Questo va bene. Subtitle size va bene, va bene. Show reticle? Non lo so. Questo non mi interessa. Questo no. Audio. Vabbè, lasciamo così. Video. Ok, bravo. Controlli. Jump, ma mica si salta. Auto wall col destro. Ah, capisco. Back. Ma non ci sono più gli achievement da abilitare? Niente più achievements? Begin the game.
This is the story of a man named
Ma
Stanley.
riguardiamocela. L'abbiamo vista solo la scorsa volta.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh madonna la sensitività però. Dio mio. Camera sensitivity 2. Ok. Dio santo. Giusto per il meme. 10. Ah! Oddio. No, mettiamolo a 2 e va benissimo così.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Graficamente più definito. Cosa mi aspetto? Boh, le
No
stesse
matter how
cose.
hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Vediamo se questo c'è ancora. Sì, c'è ancora. Ah.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart.
Hai ragione, narratore. Ok, proviamo ad andare avanti. Se provo a
All
fare
of his
questa cosa
co-workers
qua.
were gone. What could it... Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417? Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437. Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so. Now, back to door number 437. Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine. All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
Oh, no, non riesco a salire.
Yes!
Ok.
This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again! Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really? What were you thinking?
Niente, bellissimo. Ah, ok. Bene.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
si vado a
doors,
destra.
he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
senso venire di qua, ma per il momento no.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Cioè qui sembra che sia tutto uguale, non trovo nessuna differenza di nessun tipo. Proseguiamo.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Facciamo il
Feeling
closet
a wave
ending.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Scusate, ma devo rivederlo, è troppo bello.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of.
Io mi immagino questo narratore ogni volta che Giuto si addormenta su Final Fantasy.
Anyone who happens to be nearby, the person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway. Ah, second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Che paura! Non era così buio nel gioco originale. Oh? Ok, non c'è niente qui. Ok, questa è nuova. Nell'originale c'erano... cioè c'era solo un tasto verso il basso. Caricamento.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a
Cioè
bit
noi possiamo
peculiar. It
salire.
was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Beh, questa è già una differenza. Proviamo a salire.
Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out. Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Sapete già cosa farò adesso.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all this?
Tra l'altro è perfetto subito dopo il broom closet ending.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
Io voglio il narratore di questo gioco a narrare la mia vita.
Oh my god. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
Ma che cosa? Buonasera, Orgprof, ben arrivato. Mentre c'è la pausa pubblicitaria.
Okay, I'm ready.
Faccio uno
I'm prepared to
showtattino.
embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
No, ma come? Com'è andata stasera? Cosa hai portato di bello? Sempre i giochi in compagnia o qualcosa di diverso? Io non ce la faccio con questo gioco.
I have fully come to terms with it. I have made
Ah,
space
Phasmo,
and
ok,
worldview
ok.
for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Mi fa male la faccia per quanto sto ridendo. Te l'hai mai giocato The Stanley Parable? Perché se non l'hai giocato te lo consiglio, fa veramente smattare da ridere.
Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been
È enorme
attempted
la
before.
stanza.
I had no frame of reference to even
È
anticipate.
l'ufficio del
That's
nostro capo,
just how
quindi deve essere
revelatable
grande per forza.
Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
E noi lo facciamo di nuovo! Ah, non dice niente? E invece sì!
I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley.
Oh no!
You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
Oh no!
There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want
Buonanotte,
stories
Orprof.
that
Grazie ancora per
surprise me,
essere
Stanley.
passato.
I want to have to think. I want to be engaged.
E buon
and not
inizio di
pandered
settimana.
to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, though I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better.
Oh wow!
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Cosa? We did it in the pyramids. Stanley. Live on stage. World Peace Baby.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
Storyteller Stanley reveals all in his new story. No, all in his new book. World's first sanctioned machine. Doing great. A conversation with Alexander the Great. Okay.
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Titolo è National Geographic. 427 il numero della nostra stanza. Stanley Me Dead Age 6 Story. Ma cosa? Break a leg, champ, your boss. I love the way you ride elevators. Thanks for showing me that cool skateboard trick in the parking lot. You are too cool. Good luck on stage, rock on. Seconda nota dal nostro capo, giustamente. No one tells stories the way you do. Go get them, Tiger. Stanley, my true love for you grows every day. You make me feel alive. Your wife from the apartment ending. Up again, down again. The Stanley story. Congratulations, Stanley. Remember where you came from. Your coworkers. Cioè, praticamente questo è un gioco. Lo scopo del gioco è farsi prendere per il culo dal narratore. È geniale. Wow! Incredibile! Vi amo tutti! Oh no, è morto. Ah! Abbiamo fatto l'elevator ending. Ma se provo a rushare, a fare il finale in meno di 4 minuti e 22 secondi, mi dà l'achievement, immagino. E nel mentre teniamo d'occhio eventuali differenze per le prossime
Yet there was
run.
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Quelle surprise! Très bien, fantastique. Una cosa che voglio assolutamente fare è l'escape ending, perché magari c'è roba extra del dietro le quinte per la Deluxe Edition.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Eccoti.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's coworkers.
Sto provando a fare il trofeo del rush, di fare il finale in 4 minuti e 22 secondi.
And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ho già fatto quello dell'ascensore, fare su e giù.
It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time?
Vai a letto.
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it?
Quanta
blindly?
cattiveria da parte di Giuto.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Sono a
It was
letto.
unthinkable.
Scacco matto,
Wasn't it?
Giuto.
Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating,
Live
working.
ASMR.
All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided...
Ce l'abbiamo fatta?
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Dovrebbe aprirsi la porta?
Yes.
Eccola!
He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, Even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cold breeze upon his skin, the feeling of
achievement, please.
The immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
No achievement? Az. E invece sì, no. Questo è finisci il gioco. Az. Forse ora possiamo farlo che la porta è già aperta. Potrebbe essere.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Così direttissimo. Va bene? Posso passare di qua?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator.
Un altro elevator.
I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Forse.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Mo si blocca l'ascensore, si rompe.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Ok.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Oddio, possiamo saltare! Wow! Entertaining, thrilling, so exciting. Beh. Ah, oh no, cazzo. Avevamo solamente 36 salti a disposizione. Non possiamo più saltare. Merda!
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If
Is this
new
Elden
content,
Ring?
then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
Non esiste
It's
più
my fault,
Twitter.
Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
What do you say, friend? Eh? No, cos'è successo? Che fine ha fatto il nostro vecchio ufficio?
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Sinceramente sta cosa mi ricorda tantissimo Hit. Macchina in inglese. Coffee Nut.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Ma in che senso?
I call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
The Memory Zone. Che c'è qui dentro? Telefono. Cestino.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Collector's Edition. Audience Award The Stanley Parable, Independent Games Festival. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts awarded to Stanley Parable last in the category story. Good times. Bello. Le cartoline, no, le cartoline, vabbè. Perché c'è un tizio con un cane? Our first kiss, my first card, the release of the Stanley Parable in 2013. Buy on Steam. Linguists identify 5,000-year-old ultra-conserved words. The Washington Post. Researchers identify 2 dozen words whose sound and meaning have survived the past 15,000 years. 6 components of a great corporate culture. John Coleman, Harvard Business Review. Business bloggers at Harvard Business Review discuss a variety of business topics, including managing people, innovation, leadership, and more. Ah, ok, palle. Smile because it happened at Down Memory Lane. Il CD. Perché c'è un dollaro? Questa è la demo? Pensa te. Stanley Parable Alpha Test. Go outside, don't play for 5 years. Unachievable, it is impossible to get this achievement. Nominee British Academy Award, Stanley Parable Game Innovation, British Academy Games Awards. Che figata. Beta, work in progress. Debut game, story. New video game releasing today. Creators are surprisingly down to earth. Rutgers goes from scandal to new crisis. Colleges show uneven effort to enroll poor. Ok. Stanley Parable deals tough choices. Oh. In loving memory, little Stanley. Oh, il cricetino! Oh, che bello!
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Ah, il livello Minecraft. Minecraft ending. Qua cosa c'è? Ah, ci possiamo andare. Person of the Year, Stanley. Ah, ci sono le statuine! Le action figures. Your number is 29.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
People play games because of what they can do inside them, and your game is very good at letting them know they can't do anything. Literally anything. Ok, si è aperta la porta, ma non si passa. Aiuto. Come posso fare?
These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years.
Oh no!
I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
Oh no,
Surely these
paura!
reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Le recensioni di Steam, aiuto! Perché questa positiva è nascosta?
Bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny.
Ma come?
Humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny. I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Unfunny? Posso andare di là, ma qua è aperto, giusto? Ah no, è chiuso. Altre recensioni negative. Madonna, il temporale. Ma neanche nella quest con Tataru. Ah, è sempre peggio, però questa è positiva almeno.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Sorry, how preachy am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Non posso passare di qua? No.
What's this one got to say?
Cookie 9.
You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley.
Ah.
That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh no, non lo voglio usare, the skip button.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if
It's a game for the people.
my goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices are what happened, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went
È
on for nearly
offensissimo.
10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah,
Ah, si sta
blah, blah,
ripetendo.
blah, blah, blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you.
The story and the choices.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on it. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. treatise, manifesto, treatise, manifesto, treatise, manifesto, treatise, manifesto,
È geniale perché
manifesto,
a chi piaceva il gioco questa cosa
manifesto,
fa ancora più
treatise,
ridere, perché
manifesto,
c'è proprio
treatise, manifesto,
sarcasmo puro.
treatise,
Chi invece lo
manifesto,
criticava per questo motivo si
treatise,
incazza ancora di più
manifesto,
perché lo sta facendo apposta e lo fa pure
treatise,
peggio.
manifesto, treatise, manifesto, treatise, manifesto. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display
Oh
of
well.
self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this.
Cookie
The
Nine.
waiting of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
In che senso?
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was,
Dov'è la, la
I want to
porta?
say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here?
Esatto, che fine ha fatto la
Door,
porta?
though. Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through the wall?
Posso
Is there a possibility
provarci.
that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will
Me?
find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
Quanto tempo bisogna aspettare? È come in Far Cry? Che devo davvero aspettare che lui arrivi? Cioè, adoro come l'ha fatto veramente di un pedante incredibile, logorroico a livelli assurdi. Narratore, dove sei? Narratore. Tutto questo io continuo a pensare alla pianta del confusion ending. Para la memoria, sarà importantissima e poi non è più comparsa. Com'è possibile? Dove sono in tutto questo? Mezzanotte e mezza. Narratore. Aspettiamolo ancora un pochino, ma la voglia di schiacciare il pulsante è alta. Ok, schiacciamo il pulsante.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been
No!
12 hours.
Come 12
You've
ore?
just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh my God. And it's all because of those reviews. Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie 9 matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie 9.
Salutiamo
I
Cookie
have
9.
no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive. I can't help myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this? And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening, if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you, just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely
Vabbè, che pessimismo cosmico.
leaving me here, and surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety, that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, 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 I know you too well. You'll be leaving me oh my God. And it's all because of those reviews. Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the
achievement che non ho
negative
capito.
feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie 9's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie 9.
Ah, si
I
sta
have
ripetendo.
no idea who they are.
Vai.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time. That if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it.
Oh
I
no,
can't be taken by it, Stanley.
tanta
I
filosofia.
can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press
Esistenzialismo
that button,
all'improvviso.
you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us. And I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive.
I am alive.
Truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it. To think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
Questo gioco è geniale. Bene, ora che ce lo siamo anticipato abbastanza, tempo di skippare per un anno.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines.
All'improvviso
and
fisica
was
quantistica.
simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. The spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then, this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do.
No,
That perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well.
ma anche no, grazie.
Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
Quanto tempo è passato? Un secolo? Non c'è neanche più il narratore, è morto. Oh no! L'ha appena detto! Vuole fare la stessa cosa a noi, vuole lasciarci in silenzio e farci disperare. No, narratore, ti prego, parlami! Ti prego! Ho bisogno di sentire qualcuno, ho bisogno di sapere che esisto. No! Disgrazia. Ah, aspettiamo ancora. Oh? Ok. Eppure è caduto l'orologio. Ah, che fastidio sto suono. No, narratore. Dove sei? Mi manchi. Mannaggia Cookie 9. Maledetto. Tutta colpa sua.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much. They said first he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desire.
Sono passati decenni, secoli, questo è ancora offesissimo.
Every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding
Perché mi
aggression.
sento attaccato personalmente in questo
Because of
momento?
this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this.
No,
I'm at peace
no,
with it.
no.
I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me.
Yes,
They've been
of
jealous of me this
course.
whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves, they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me.
Ma perché è diventato improvvisamente così profondo?
Being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amused them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition.
Ok, sta
Where are the
ripartendo.
jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned this.
Mi chiedo se il narratore si sia offeso veramente leggendo le recensioni e invece di recitare sta dicendo le cose in maniera completamente onesta. Oh, si è spenta pure la ventola. Cazzo.
The end is never the end.
Niente è andato.
Is never the end. 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 Is never the end.
Cosa hanno combinato? Perché Cookie Nine? Perché? È fatto qualcosa di terribile. Sto piovendo. Az. Prossimo skip ci troviamo. Ma tra l'altro sta passando tantissimo tempo. Millenni, eoni. Eccola là. Tutto rotto. Bene. Almeno potremo uscire forse a un certo punto. Guardate che disastro. Oh! La luce del sole, finalmente. E vabbè, la natura. Oh no! Cos'è successo? Una frana. Apocalisse. Tragedia. Disastro. Oh, oh. Ok. Apocalisse. Siamo su Journey. Ah! Finito così.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
No, mi ha lasciato un enorme senso di tristezza. Capisco. Capisco molto bene, ma è tardissimo e questo direi che lo facciamo la prossima volta. Forse no. Posso salvare? No che non posso salvare. Az. Quit to menu. Begin the game. Click to skip.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok, perfetto. Quit to menu. Ok. Wow. Sinceramente non me l'aspettavo. Tutto quello che è successo. Palesemente, perché da quello che abbiamo visto finora questo gioco è semplicemente qualcosa di completamente inatteso. Molto da un certo punto di vista ironico, da un altro drammatico, da un altro estremamente profondo e filosofico questo ending. Mi è piaciuto un sacco. Fatemi dare un'occhiata però ai trofei. Dove sei? The Stanley Parable, eccoti qua. Achievement sono 11, ok. Mostra i miei achievement. Non puoi saltare. Che achievement è? Tieni il tuo primo achievement, clicca sulla porta 430, finisci il gioco, non puoi saltare. No, davvero l'abbiamo disabilitato. Ok. Non capisco perché me l'ha dato così a caso in quel momento. Ok, sto vedendo i trofei. Campione mondiale di impostazioni, regola tutti i cursori scorrevoli nel menu su tutti i numeri disponibili. Va bene. Ok, dobbiamo fare la speedrun. Resta fuori non giocare a The Stanley Parable per 10 anni. Ok, chiaro. Quindi... Oh no.
Story of
Non funziona così, devo fare davvero numerino per numerino? È questo che mi stai dicendo, gioco? Devo impazzire per ottenere sta cosa? Va bene, capito. In futuro impazzirò. E nulla. E questo gioco si rivela essere sempre più fantastico. Toccherà aggiungerlo alla tier list dei migliori 32 giochi che abbia mai fatto perché li sta scavallando per bene, devo solo capire quale gioco togliere, cosa abbastanza impossibile. E buonasera Jinx Igor, esatto, sei arrivato proprio sul punto di chiusura. Abbiamo fatto due dei nuovi finali dell'Ultra Deluxe Edition, ma ormai l'ora è tarda, domani devo lavorare, quindi devo svegliarmi relativamente presto, non posso stare online troppo a lungo. Comunque grazie mille per essere passata anche solo sul finale. E niente, io sono positivamente esterrefatto e scandalizzato da questo gioco. Continua a stupirmi sempre, sempre di più. E spero davvero che abbiano dato una montagna di oro al narratore, al doppiatore del narratore, perché è è fenomenale, è veramente fenomenale. Non so quanto abbia recitato e quanto invece sia stato onesto nel recitare certe cose, soprattutto contro le recensioni negative di Steam, però veramente, veramente fenomenale il doppiatore. Io me lo immagino che quando arrivano con l'Ultra Deluxe Edition, che dicono, senti, ti ricordi che cosa hai fatto per il Stanley Parable? Devi rifarlo di nuovo, ma meglio. E lui subito, non c'è problema, sono disponibilissimo. Veramente, veramente bello. Detto questo, però, io di nuovo devo staccare perché l'ora è tarda. Vi ringrazio tutti quanti per essere passati, per la compagnia o anche solo per aver urcato. Noi ci vediamo di nuovo martedì con Death's Door. Devo giusto informarmi un attimo per il completismo e poi ci mancherà giusto giusto credo il finale del gioco, non penso manchi troppo alla fine. E mercoledì invece con Armor Core 6 andiamo avanti a cercare di buttare giù quella boss fight, veramente veramente bella. Purtroppo settimana molto corta la prossima perché io poi beh no, oddio, mercoledì ci sono ancora, quindi mercoledì bisogna vedere se ho finito Death's Door. Se l'ho finito, si può pensare di fare di nuovo Armor Core nel caso non ho buttato giù la boss fight. Se invece non l'ho finito, si finisce Death's Door. E poi però giovedì parto e purtroppo questa volta ho cercato di prenotare il treno domenica come faccio sempre, ma non c'erano treni disponibili stranamente, quindi torno lunedì e anche la live della domenica salta. Quindi settimana molto corta e purtroppo perdiamo gli appuntamenti del weekend. Detto questo, poi domani vabbè manderò comunque la schedule aggiornata con tutti i dettagli. Io vi auguro una buona notte, un buon inizio di settimana, speriamo non sia troppo violento questo lunedì e buonanotte a tutti, alla prossima, ciao ciao!